You ready? Okay. Okay, we'll call our meeting to order at this time. It's about 5:30. Thank everyone for coming. As our norm, we would open with an invocation, and then we will immediately follow with the Pledge of Allegiance. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for all the many blessings that you have so generously bestowed upon us. We thank you for watching over us. Keep us under your guidance. Just pray that things that this council does would be approved by you. We just ask you continue to watch over us, guide us, and protect us. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the item is the approval of the business agenda. If anybody has any conflicts, let them be known at this time. If not, when someone is ready, we'd like to have a motion to entertain it.
I make a motion that we adopt the business agenda as stated.
I have a motion by Councilman Bell, second to the motion.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Bryant. Is there any more discussion on the matter? If there is none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Comment, we do have one gentleman that is signed up under scheduled public comment, Mr. Brodsky. And Mr. Brodsky, would like to come to the podium and just give us your name and where you live. It is our policy that we allot 5 minutes for scheduled public comment.
Good afternoon. My name is Ephraim Brodsky, and I live at 936 East 7th Street. I recently wrote a letter addressing this group that was published in both local newspapers, and I hope that all of you read it. I want to just remind all of you sitting before me that your tax base is parents of school-age children. It's not seniors. It's not people living on a fixed income. It's parents of school-age children. We're the ones paying the taxes. We're the ones shopping and paying the sales taxes. We're the ones buying the house and paying the majority of the property taxes. These are the people we want to attract to the city. We pay the majority of these payroll taxes that fund a retiree's lifestyle with no guarantee that those benefits are going to be available to us when we reach retirement age. Mayor Dowdy said that he would like to run this city like a business, and I took that personally. Because in business, the number one rule is that if you're not growing, you're dying. Roanoke Rapids is dying. The city council has not adopted a growth mindset, and if you listen to Wayne Smith, the focus of this council is not to build the city up to attract parents of school-age children. It is to serve as a champion for seniors and people living on a fixed income. Once again, council, I would like to remind all of you sitting here that your primary tax base is parents of school-age children. Please do not vote to reduce the tax rate 2 cents. These 2 cents represent $20 annually per $100,000 of assessed value. My house was assessed at $220,000. That represents $44 a year for me. This is clearly a symbolic cut, but the symbolism is a slap in the face to anybody who cares about the survival of the city. The city manager proposed such a low, underfunded budget because she is the only city employee that this council can fire. And as a single mother of school-age children, she would prefer not to uproot her family for another job opportunity. Please, stop asking the city manager to cut costs, to cut services. Instead, ask the city manager to propose a budget that offers significant adjustments to capital and operational budgets. A budget that at least matches the cost of living adjustments that the county has been giving its employees. A budget that allows for at least one 6-figure civic renewal project every year. Show the people that you care about their needs. Invest in our city. Invest in our future. Over the past 15 years, this city council has been shredding the budget to pieces, using theater debt as an excuse. All city departments have consistently been asked to do more with less, to figure it out. What has that done for the residents of Roanoke Rapids? Thanks to the internet, I've read back through the minutes of every budget meeting for the last 15 years. And every year or two, a need for more ball fields is mentioned. But you know what? We still haven't built any. We could definitely use some. I read repeatedly about concerns over the tennis courts falling into disrepair. And you know what? They're still in disrepair. I read about staffing levels being reduced and then restored. But once again, that's just not true. I can't speak to every department, but in 2008, the library had 5 full-time employees and 5 part-time employees. As recently as 2017, the library had 4 full-time employees and 5 part-time employees. Currently, they have 3 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees, with no open positions. Where's the growth? What are we doing? Look, I might not have all of the answers, but I definitely have some ideas. There's room for cuts of non-essential expenditures, as well as room for significant improvements in the latest budget. For cuts, a few come to mind right away. First, the cemetery. Why does the city own the cemetery? Sell it or just donate it to one of the 50 area churches. I don't think any taxpayer enjoys having to pay for the cemetery, and as far as I know, dead people don't pay taxes. Second, the community center. Kirkwood Adams is falling apart. Why does the city own it? The city should sell it. One less thing to worry about maintaining or falling into disrepair. They don't even have any full-time employees, so this would just be removing another headache from the woefully understaffed Parks and Rec department. Finally, the Canal Museum. Why does the city own and maintain the Canal Museum? My children have been in school here for 3 years now, and they've never taken a field trip to the Canal Museum. The website has hours posted, but I've been there several times on a Saturday during their posted hours to find the doors locked. Historic Halifax is run by the state, not by the municipality of Halifax. We should give the Canal Museum to either the state or to a nonprofit. This shouldn't be the responsibility of city taxpayers. There you have it. In just a few sentences, I just saved the city $500,000. Compounded over 10 years, that's over $5 million. Now for improvements. First of all, match the county's pay structure and set the city's minimum wage at $15 for all employees, not just full-timers. Next, let's work on some proactive renovations and updates rather than working reactively. Why wait for the HVAC system to break or the roof to collapse before appropriating funds? Every city building needs to be renovated. Let's start those renovations. Finally, we need some parks restored and some new ball fields built. These are the economic drivers that bring people to the city and promote movement among our youth. And if the city sells the cemetery, their groundskeepers can be repurposed to work on these projects. Listen, I'm out of time, and I respect your time, but I have some more to say, and I'm willing to come back at another time to say it. But for all of you, this cut does not represent future-focused mindset. And if you want to focus on the future, if you want our city to grow, raise the taxes, at least match the county. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your comments. Anybody on the unscheduled? Ms. Miles and Mr. Miles. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What I'd like to
Could you just state your name and where you
I'm
live?
John Miles, and I live at 105 Washington Street downtown. And what I'd like to speak about today is one thing is crime rate's getting horrible. And but downtown, all these teenagers are running around with these so-called Orby guns. They're shooting cars, they're shooting people, they're shooting houses. They're running all through people's yards with these things, and they're like an automatic machine gun. When you pull the trigger, it don't stop until it's empty. And these kids are taking these things and freezing them like they would do a paintball, which makes them hurt a whole lot worse. My wife has a short video of where they ran up to a car while it was going down the street, and they fired no telling how many rounds through that car with people driving it. And it, not only one time, but several times this has happened. They shot a small boy up the street last week, week before last. They shot him so many times with that thing that they had to call a rescue squad. He had probably 50, 60 whips on him. He was bleeding. The police department has been down there numerous times, and I mean numerous of times. Nobody's ever been arrested. It's like nothing's being done about it. But probably what's going to end up happening is one of these kids are going to run up to somebody's car with these things and start firing into a car, and somebody's going to pull out a real gun. And then it's going to be bad news for somebody. Somebody's going to be dead out in the street. And what we propose is that the city bans these things. They buy them at Walmart, and I think they buy them at Tractor Supply. But they need to ban these things. I mean, they're dangerous. The girl across the street from us got shot in the face with one, and it was close to her eye. If she'd got hit in the eye, that would have been it for her eye. And it's all times of the night. I ain't talking about like from 5 o'clock in the evening to 8 o'clock at night. I'm talking about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And a gentleman that lives across from us, well, yeah, somebody came folks has a pontoon boat in the yard. I bet they shot that thing 400 times. And, you know, when she comes back in town, I'm sure she's going to be really upset over this, but it's not just that, I mean, it's everywhere. It's constantly these kids are shooting these things. And they're shooting animals with them. They've probably shot, it's no telling how many cars they've shot with these things and how many animals they've shot with them. But I know they've shot several people with them. And like I said, my wife's got a short video on her phone.
We're pretty much out of only 3 minutes.
Okay.
Have you, we normally don't have Q&A at this point in a meeting. We just generally take the comment from the citizen. But have you had any conversation with the police department? You yourself?
Yes. They said there's nothing they can do because they're not illegal.
Okay.
But that's what we're asking, that they be illegal.
Okay. That's pretty much all I can comment on that. If maybe you follow up and continue to have communication with the police department and see if you can get some kind of resolution to your problem.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Did you want to? Okay. If you'd like to speak, you're welcome. You sign up. Okay. All right. Thank you. Next, item 5, we have 2 sets of minutes, the special meeting and then the regular meeting, May 13th, May 21st. We will need a motion to approve them together.
Motion that we approve the minutes from the meeting on May 13th, 2024 special meeting for budget session and May 21st, 2024 regular meeting.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Bell. Do I hear a second to his motion?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bryant. Is there any more discussion on this matter? If none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Minutes will be approved as they are presented. I call on the clerk. We have Library Advisory Committee and Senior Center Advisory Committee appointments.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens. The terms for Sandra Duncan, Crystal Cook Elliott, Brian Jones, and James Keetoff on the Library Advisory Committee expired in May. All 4 members have served the maximum number of 2 consecutive terms allowed by the city policy, but City Council has the authority to waive this section of the policy and has done so in the past. I contacted the 4 committee members, and all are interested in continuing to serve. City Council took a ballot vote earlier, and all received a unanimous vote to be reappointed. Therefore, I respectfully request City Council consider a motion to waive the city policy for Sandra Duncan, Crystal Cook Elliott, Brian Jones, and James Keetoff, and reappoint them to the Library Advisory Committee.
Okay, we have a motion, the appointments.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to waive the city policy for Ms. Duncan, Ms. Cook Elliott, Mr. Jones, and Dr. Keetoff, and reappoint them to the Library Advisory Committee.
Okay, you have a motion by Councilwoman Bryant. Do I hear a second to a motion? That you read? Second by Mr. Steinbach. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Okay, thank you. And now for the Senior Center Advisory Committee. Currently, the Senior Center Advisory Committee has 3 vacancies. Ms. Jodina, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, King has submitted a volunteer application which was enclosed in your packets for your review and consideration. City Council took a ballot vote earlier, and Ms. King received a unanimous vote to be appointed. Therefore, I respectfully request City Council consider a motion to appoint Ms. King to the Senior Center Advisory Committee.
Hear such a motion?
Mayor, I'd make a motion to appoint Jodina King to the Senior Center Advisory Committee.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Strickland, second to the motion. Second by Mr. Stainback. Any more discussion on the matter? If there is none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Senior Center appointment would be approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Story. Next, I call on the city manager to guide us into a public hearing on the budget.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council and citizens. Just wanted to make note that tonight is a public hearing for the proposed fiscal year 25 budget, and to receive, the purpose is to receive comments from citizens concerning the budget expenditures. We are not asking for approval tonight. During our next meeting scheduled on June the 18th, in 2 weeks, is when the budget ordinance will be presented for adoption. So just wanted to let you set the stage there. We have presented the proposed budget several times throughout the month of May, and we've made a few adjustments since then, not to increase the budget, but some of the expenditures that are in there, what we have been able to do in the last couple weeks since some of the final quotes for the upcoming year have been received and so forth, but we've been able to provide a not a full level, but a partial level of street resurfacing funds, about $250,000 in resurfacing funds. So we've been able to reallocate some of the POW bill expenditures to free up, and so we do have some contribution there for about $270,000 for street resurfacing included in the budget. Another thing that we have included would be some of the increase in some of the part-time salaries in order to have our facilities open more often. It's not a huge change, but some of those salary line items have been adjusted to ensure that we can keep our facilities open. Another item that we have included in the budget that came up during one of our workshops was about the skate park, or the proposed skate park at Emory Park. And we have been able to budget a portion of that, about $15,000, and then we're going to request another $15,000 from tourism from that contribution, and that with the match or the fundraising efforts that have been demonstrated by our community, we believe that we can accomplish the proposed project for the skate park by full removal of all of the tennis courts and still providing a skate park element, and then also will leave room for future planning or other uses on that site where the tennis courts would be replaced. Just want to kind of go back and say that, on February the 7th of 2024, we had the City Council and I met in a retreat and discussed a lot of your individual perceptions and goals, and came to some consensus and about what we would like to see for the city going into the future. And a lot of it was about improving the quality of life and improving the community appearance and so forth. And so I feel like this proposed budget outlines those goals that have been collaborated by the City Council, and those goals will be absorbed into the budget through the work plan in order to help improve the community appearance, keep our facilities open and running, make some improvements that are long overdue needed, heating and air units, windows needing replaced. We need equipment and so forth to be able to operate. So we do believe that the proposed budget will allow us in fiscal year 25 to be able to initiate many improvements that are going to help us to provide more reliable services and enhance the daily living for our citizens. And we can do this through staff excellence, infrastructure and facilities, public safety, community outreach and involvement, and also through planning and economic development activities. That concludes any little presentation at this time on the budget. The public hearing has been properly advertised as required. in the media, and no changes have been made to those numbers that have been proposed in the budget announcement. And again, the proposed budget sets a new tax rate of 64.1 cents per 100, evaluation being 2 cents less than the previous fiscal year rate of 66.1. So this is above the revenue neutral rate that has been provided by Halifax County, and everything has been published in accordance with the general statutes as required for considering the annual budget. And again, this time next year, we will be looking at the tax rates and the budgets and everything too. So I just want to remind you that this is a one-year budget that we have for consideration at this time. Subject to your questions, that concludes my brief report.
Okay, so at this time, I would declare that the public hearing be open. Anyone that would like to speak is welcome to come forward and do so at this time.
Hi, y'all. My name is Maria Murray Diaz. I am a resident here. I've been here for about 7-8 years. Here, and I live over by Challoner on Poplar Street. And I want to just emphasize some of the goals that we as parents in the community have. I want to echo some of what Mr. Brodsky said, but also kind of give you a little bit of a twist from my perspective as someone who's worked on facilities throughout my career, operations. I've worked in schools. I'm now at Rural Health Group working out in school-based health centers. I don't represent Rural Health Group right now. I'm representing myself as a citizen. And I think the budget sounds fantastic, that the skate park, the increase in part-time salary, employees, and I think that's moving in the right direction. I do want to emphasize that this is the moment in time where decreasing tax rates might not be the smartest thing to do. We do have a deteriorating capital capital structure here in Roanoke Rapids. We have buildings that need to be demolished. We have walls that are falling down into streets. We have parks, playgrounds that are unsafe. We have mulch that needs to be improved to the 9-inch rate that is safe for kids. There's just so much we physically need to do in the city of Roanoke Rapids that I don't think it is an investment in kids, an investment in families to do a tax decrease at this moment in time. I do know politically it's probably really hard to have citizens experience the increase in tax assessment without giving them a little bit of a break. But like Mr. Brodsky said, $20 a year for me, it is about $20 a year, is, $1.50 per month. I think that we could use that money for really important things to invest in the kids and in our families. Library hours on the weekends. This is the only town I've ever lived in where there's no Saturday hours. Pool time. It's a lot of families who want to use a pool. Often, if they have means, go to the country club because the hours are so limited here. And I mean, the list couldn't go on and on. The playgrounds, some of the structures, the buildings, the pool house where folks change, kids change. I don't know if you've ever been in there. It's pretty rough. I really recommend you going in there. I didn't even want to touch a single thing. So I think that this is the moment where we can really invest more and demonstrate investing in the kids and in the community. And so, a 1 cent decrease in the tax rate might be feasible politically, and then take the other 1 cent to invest in the kids and their families. Thank you so much for letting me speak. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else that'd like to speak tonight? If we have questions of the city manager, would it be appropriate to address them at this time or after the public hearing is closed? about the budget? Okay, all right. No one else? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I didn't.
I'm trying to think of something to say, but I feel like this is a good time to say something. I'm Justin Kerr. I'm the one that's been working on the Emery Park Skate Park project and trying to get the money raised. And I'm absolutely honored that John has proposed that y'all help us finish it out, and they have found the money to hopefully make this work. This has gone way better than I thought, especially with our first fundraising day we had at TJ Davis in March. I mean, we raised like $2,000 off just the little dollar raffle tickets with kids. And honestly, I haven't seen so many kids showing up to the skate park, out skating in the streets and stuff since then. And I just want y'all to know that we're still working on raising money no matter what y'all do here today and approve of it or not. We're still having our next fundraiser day September 7th. And we hope to keep doing, even once the park gets finished, that maybe we keep doing this twice a year to keep kids involved and getting out and doing stuff like that. But thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Kerr, and thank you for what you all are doing to try to emulate like what they did when we got the first skateboard park. We had some citizens that got out and worked and raised some money, and then I think the council would agree that most everywhere we go, when we have state and federal people there, they tell us there's money there. You just have to know, how to send in requests for it and that type thing. We can't guarantee you get it, but it seems like there are dollars available, especially if you can be successful as you have been in getting a good seed on it. I know the initial state skateboard park, that's how it got started and morphed into much more improved one than it could have been without having that. And other things like the cameras that we have on the poles in town. When we initially started that program, it came a fruition from individuals helping the police department get those cameras, and things like the chimes over in Centennial Park, that came from individuals mostly. So people in this community will support things like that when they can see where their money is going. Thank you. If there's no one else that wishes to speak, I declare that public hearing be closed at this time. I would ask, does anybody have any questions at this time of the city manager? It's my understanding that we'll come back, as she said, June the 18th, and that would be when we would more than likely approve the budget for the next coming year. Nobody has any questions?
Hello, Moto.
$25. Someone has a question?
Ms. Lasky, Ms. Trainum, you do your report then?
Yes. We have, there's a lot of activities going on in the city, as been mentioned here, especially for people of all ages. I received the Senior Center's newsletter today, and just looking at everything going on in the calendar of events, and that's just for one particular program and service that we offer, and it's one full-time person there primarily, and so there's just a lot of things that our employees are doing to help serve this community and keep things going, and so I appreciate the work that our employees are doing to help keep things going, and for the council to, for hearing our needs and responding to those as well. But there's several activities taking place all throughout the city. Youth baseball and softball are wrapping up here in the next couple weeks, and moving on to industrial league type of sports for the summer, and before we know it, there'll be fall sports. But other activities going on regularly. The library has story time every Wednesdays. They have been participating in that for many, many, many years, and something that a lot of families do enjoy going to. We'll have swim lessons offered at the Aquatic Center. and through the outdoor pool, which will open on Saturday. This Saturday, the outdoor pool will open for the season, be open from 1 to 5 daily. And there's another, the Joe Story Senior Center is also preparing for the box fans that are available for distribution for those in need. So there are some limitations involved, but if anyone needs a box fan to help with relief from the heat this summer, you have to qualify either individuals on disability or over the age of 60 and have a health situation that has that need for heat relief to contact the senior center. Some of the other activities going on, and again, this is a lot about the senior center right now, but it just happened to be what is right in front of me at the moment today, but some good things going on, I'll put it this way. The Senior Center has started a cancer support group, and you do not have to be a senior to participate in this, but a community cancer support group is being offered, and not just for people who have cancer, but it could be someone who's indirectly affected by it. But this support group will meet on the last Tuesday of each month at 12:30 at the Senior Center. There's a lot of sick, unfortunately there's a lot of sick people in our community, people who have cancer or have been affected by it, and so really want to commend the leadership and through Thomas Goebel's experience as well in creating this support group for all. The library has a summer reading program that kicks off today that will go through the middle of July. They're taking registrations for that with many activities scheduled throughout the summer for families. The Public Works Department has been removing some identified dangerous trees from our street right-of-ways. This is the time of year to do it because we are officially in hurricane season as of June the 1st. It seems a little bit early to talk about hurricanes, but the season has officially begun, and so it's time to make sure that we get things cleaned up to help prevent damage in the future. The planning board will meet in this room on Thursday evening at 5:30 for a special meeting to consider an amendment to the zoning ordinance concerning the entertainment overlay district and to change the permitting process from a special use to a permissible use, and then also to provide a definition for a multi-use recreational facility. That will come before the City Council during the next meeting on June the 18th at 5:30. And subject to your questions, that concludes my report at this time.
If I could go back to the budget just a minute, did we not have like $20,000 in here for demolition? I saw it somewhere and I can't seem to find it now. Is that the figure that it is still
Yes.
is that?
And what we propose,
Go ahead.
I'll say what we propose to do is bid out a number of jobs so that we could get an idea of the estimate of cost for additional, but we know that we're probably going to have to look at bring a request to the council for a building downtown and so forth. So really the demolition activities will be funded when we have more information about the actual costs.
Because I know that in one of the citizens' comments came up about demolition, and the council has discussed that in detail, but we have not seen fit so far to put very much money, and it's extremely expensive, very much so. And at the next meeting, could we get an update on, you sent an email out 2 or 3 weeks ago about some of the, I'll call them nuisance properties in town that Public Works and maybe Police Department was working through. If we could get an update on a couple of those, that would be good. And one more comment that we received tonight about Kirkwood Adams Civic Center. Lowe's came in and gave us $2,000 worth of plants. That's where those plants came from that we got, and they put in a lot of manpower too, as well as our city employees. But we have been able to put some dollars into Kirkwood, and I think we put in then we put a new roof on it and heating and air conditioning system. And the building was built in about 1975, and it's like you said, it had not really had nothing done to it in 50 years. So it was definitely in need of repairs. However, you mentioned about selling it. Kurtwood is one of the few properties that we have that kind of carries its own. That and the cemetery. The cemetery brings in enough revenue that it's not really a real cost to the city. But anyway, anybody else have anything? Any other business? If not, I call for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
A motion by Mr. Bell, second to the motion by Mr. Stainback. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. Adjourn.